When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
my head up.
I'm South Carolina, so I just.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And that'll be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it for all the more.
Letting His glory shine through. That'll be you, that'll be me, that'll be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. Entered the winning for the long haul, baby. Now we got a story for you today. Let me tell you. Joining us is Mr. Melvin Bledsoe, originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Never been to Memphis, but it reminds me, at least what I've seen and read about, kind of reminds me a little of Baltimore. They have a strong music legacy. They've got hip hop artists. They've got the blues. I think they got a big river down there. Let me check with Mr. Bledsoe. Is there a big river down that way, Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes, sir. About 300 miles long. The Mississippi River. Yes, sir.
I was on the Mississippi down in New Orleans. That's a big river, man.
Oh, yeah. It's a powerful river. It's probably the fourth longest river in the world.
Yes, Lord. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Fine, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm grateful, man. The good Lord woke me up. I'm on this side of glory. So they say, I woke up, I'm winning.
That is right. That's good.
Something happened to your family in 2009. Tell us about it.
Well, 2009, a great tragedy happened to my family. Actually, I should back up just a little bit just to tell you that my son graduated from high school and we sent him off to go to college in Nashville, which is 200 miles away. We had a dream for him that quickly turned into a nightmare. And what happened in 2009, after my son was recruited and by radical Islam, he's recruited. He was programmed and trained. He was programmed and trained to become someone who we didn't know. He even changed his name. He changed his name to become from Carlos Bledsoe to become Abdul Hakim Muhammad. He was recruited and he was sent off to Yemen to be further radicalized. When he came back to America, we did not know that he was fully radicalized, full of hate. And therefore, he went to Little Rock in 2009 to start an extension of our tour business that we have going on in Memphis. We wanted to do something good for him to try to westernize him when he came back, and did not know at the beginning that he was fully radicalized. At this time, while in Little Rock, it didn't take long for him decided that he wanted to uh, attempt to do harm to military soldiers. So he shot and killed a military soldier in Little Rock and wounded another soldier. That's what happened in 2009. And from there, my heart was broken. My mind was crying. We decided, my family, speaking of myself and my daughter, decided to do something because we had no help from no one to help us figure out what was going on and what had happened to our son. The pain we suffered and the hurt that we was going through, we didn't want to see any other family have to go through that anymore. So we started an organization called Parents for Peace. And Parents for Peace is an organization that would help others try to figure out how to intervene when people needed help like we did.
You know,
That's
I've
what happened.
seen stories like this on television, but they never involve African Americans. It seemed like the stories when I would see of people whose children were sucked into this radical terrorism seemed like white kids.
Yeah, I think you're probably exactly right. And that's why it was so difficult for us because this was a black young man, and it didn't seem like, excuse me, it did not seem like people cared about what happened to him. And that's where I think was things went very wrong uh, for the American government, uh, the administration, uh, and the authorities at that time because they didn't care about who he was because he was a black man. I testified before Congress in Washington in 2011 about that radicalization of American citizens. I talked about that time, 2009, when it wasn't to be talked about. It was taboo to even bring it up about radicalization in America, especially being a black man. I talked
How
about
how real is it, Mr. Bledsoe?
well, at this time it was very real, but we didn't know. And it was something that sneaked up on us, I guess, because we had no idea. We was
But
blindsided.
it could happen to anyone.
It can happen to anyone. That is true. And that's what I made clear when I testified in Washington about the radicalization hearing with Peter King, 2011, that it was my son today, which is a black man, and tomorrow it'll be your son, your daughter. Their eyes will be blue and their hair will be blonde. And that truly happened many times after.
Tell me more about Parents for Peace. Is this a way of channeling? Because I can only imagine. I would I and you correct me, but it's like you've lost your son.
Yes. Parents for Peace is a nonprofit organization. We started, my daughter and I, to empower families, friends, and the community to try to prevent radicalization and violence extremists from intervention programs that we raise, the public awareness, trying to make sure that the public will have a solution. Because we didn't have any clue what was going on. So now that we have a hotline, 24-hour hotline that would help people. People can call and get help on how we could intervene and try to put them on the right path.
So when you see on the major news stations this October 7th event where people from the Gaza Strip Hamas, they attack Israel. Israel's 9/11. What thoughts go through your mind?
Well, what thoughts go to my mind? It's wrong for anyone to try to harm others because of their belief. Um, However, but I think that it's been a long history of in the Middle East of what's been going on between Israel and the Palestinians, um, which I feel bad about it because it's we all are God's children, and I think that what Palestinian people are really asking for, in my opinion, they want peace, they want freedom. That's important.
21,000 Palestinians have been killed. 130 Israelis have been kidnapped.
Yes, and it's still sad because you know even though I know it's never wrong to kidnap and harm other people, but to go out now and you're talking about 21,000 people that are dead, it's got to be a peaceful ending, a peaceful solution somewhere to be able to stop the killing of innocent people.
How do you go on, Mr. Bledsoe?
I go on because I know what happened to my son was, he was kidnapped too. And he was brainwashed, he was bamboozled, he was hoodwinked. The evil doers, they changed his thoughts, his behavior. They even changed his name and tried to change his culture. In so many ways they did. Only because they wanted to further their political belief. I am on a mission to help others and continue to try to help my son. He's my only son. And I know that he was a very happy kid before all this happened to him. This really do happen. And I experienced it. I can talk about it. I can tell the world about it. I know about it because I've experienced it.
So you've been on TV stations all across the country, correct?
Yes, sir.
So
I did interviews all across the country with television stations, and I've been speaking at different college campuses like Harvard, MIT, and many other countries around the country, trying to tell the world what happened to my son, and hopefully that doesn't happen to anyone else's son or daughter.
So have you written a book yet?
That is my intentions. I want the world to hear the true story of what happened to my son, because the true story has been suppressed.
What is the true story?
The true story is what really happened to my son. The American government was very much aware of what was happening to him before it happened, and the story never got told because in Little Rock courtroom, and my son was charged with a drive-by shooting as a local crime, and it was tried in a state court. And we know, and the world know, if you kill a federal soldier, it should be a federal crime, and you are shooting into a federal building. Well, the true story is that the American government knew of my son's behavior and what had happened to him when he was being radicalized for the 2 years before he actually committed the crime. So therefore, the true story never got told. I'm going to move down a little further, but I'm going to keep myself talking because my dog is waking up. But The true story is that my son never had a trial on what happened. He never
He
had a
never
trial.
he never had a trial.
Well, I say, when I say that, I mean that there was some collaboration between the federal government and the state government. When the trial started, it abruptly ended. Of course, the lawyers involved, the lawyer that we hired to represent my son, was also involved in this collaboration, so that the trial wouldn't go on. It would abruptly end in a guilty plea. So the, no one got to testify. Uh, I never got a chance to testify to tell the story of what happened because we hired a private investigator to look into the matter, and we found out that the my son was recruited in Nashville by the Radical Islam and at a mosque, and that he was later sent off to Yemen. The FBI in Nashville followed him to Yemen, and while he was arrested in Yemen for having a false passport and also having a flash drive in his pocket, that when they FBI, the same people that follow him from Nashville to Yemen, they said it raised the hair on their head, what they seen on the flash drive. I found all this out after the fact.
So
So
your point is they could have stopped it.
they could have stopped it. They didn't want to stop it. They didn't want to stop it because they wanted him to lead them to the bigger person. So in my opinion, they allowed it to happen, and then after it happened, they dropped the ball because never should they have allowed him to purchase a gun in his own name at a Walmart before the shooting in Little Rock because they knew who we were.
Have you talked to your son lately?
I talk to my son often. I've talked to him maybe once a week by phone. Uh, Sometimes we have video visits. Um, he is right now. Um, he is doing a lot better. Uh, he realized what had happened to him. Now he was never deprogrammed after being programmed. He been trying to deprogram himself because he's not getting any help uh, from the United States.
Is he still a Muslim?
Still a Muslim, but he realized that there are good Muslims just like good Christians, and there are bad Muslims as well. He realized that he got uh, somehow recruited, involved with the ones who are not good.
Yeah, because I don't think the good Lord would have us going right, especially the suicide bomber thing. You know, do what you want, but when you're causing harm to innocent people, I don't see what God would allow that.
Yeah, I think that
Or you tell somebody if you go over there and kill yourself and you blow up them 20 people, you're gonna get 72 virgins. You dead.
yeah, that's what I call brainwashing, manipulation, hook-winking,
So let me ask
bamboozling.
you this: those radical Muslims in Nashville, did they ever get pulled up, put out? I mean, seems to
No,
me that they would have got, you kicked them out of your country immediately.
no. At this time, let me just express a little bit more. Um, this happened right after the Obama administration began in 2009. He was inaugurated into office in January. This happened in June. So, like I said before earlier, a lot of this was like taboo. You don't talk about what's really going on in America. You don't talk about radical Islam. You don't do anything that would harm American interests.
But we should.
Yeah, we should. That's why I say his trial ended up in a state court, and no one can figure that out. And you know, I brought that up to the attention to the public many times during the process of this going to trial. Well,
Why is
yeah,
it? Why is? Well, what difference would it have made if it went to federal court?
because the federal court, we would have been able to subpoena federal witness who knew and aware of what happened to my son way before the shooting took place in Little Rock. We had people at the embassy in Yemen who we worked with to try to bring him back to America, and I did. I had rattled some pots and pans in Washington with my local congressman, Steve Cohen, and at the State Department in Washington. These people was aware what was going on with my son, but they never told me. So we were going to subpoena all of these people who was aware of my son's situation, even including the FBI agent who followed him to Yemen.
Did it
They did
make
not
you
want to.
want to? Did it make you want to hurt somebody?
No, it made me want to do what I did. It started an organization called non-profit organization called Parents for Peace. I wanted to make sure my my story get told to the world, and it did. But I'm not through. I'm gonna tell the whole story.
Sound like a movie to me.
Well, could be one. I think that
But you got to write that book first, though.
they got to write the book first, right? That's what I got to do. And if there's anyone out there who's listening that want to point me in the right direction on how I can get started with my books, I have a lot of information and
Yeah, I
facts.
can tell you. I can
I
tell
got
you
facts.
if you're not going to write it, then you get yourself a recording mechanism and you start recording and you write down your list of chapters, like 10 chapters,
Yes,
organize it, and then start going to work. If you're not going to write it, then talk it. And then you can
yes,
get somebody to take the audio and transcribe it.
yes, sir. I appreciate that information because I woke up the other morning and I
It's
was
a new
looking through.
year.
Yes, it's new year. It's a brand new year, and I woke up the other morning, which been on heavy on my mind for almost 15 years now. What happened to my son, and and the story had to be told. The real true story. The story that needs to be heard by the world and by especially the American people.
I wrote 2 books. You can do it. If I
Yes,
did
sir.
it, you can do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm looking at that. When I picked up my Rolodex, when I went to Washington, and you were there, we went to the White House. I was invited by the Biden administration to come as the organization uh, they call United We Stand, and they invited 200-300 people to the White House that day.
And
Along with
everybody had a beautiful story.
we had a beautiful story. Al Sharpton was there. Susan Rice, a very beautiful lady who uh, hosted everyone. Everyone had a beautiful story. And I met so many different people. And that's when I met you at that time. And I held on to your card. And the other day I picked it up. And I know that was because God wanted me to talk to you again.
I remember that day. It was a very gracious day, and everybody had a story. Some of those stories involved loss. People had lost loved ones, and we can at least say that your son is still amongst the living.
Yes. And that's because God's will. And I know it's because of God's will, because God's not through with him. Uh, he's willing to help with Parents for Peace. He wants to be able to help intervene with other people who are being radicalized and recruited. But in the state court, in the state government, won't allow that to happen. And that's why we're trying to get the federal government more involved again now so they can allow him to help save other people. He wants to help.
Are you a Christian?
I'm a Christian. I'm a Baptist Christian.
Would you say that your faith has been strengthened?
Yes, I would say that with a wholehearted. Um, I have been searching for a new church home. My wife and I, we feel that we have found this home. And this year we are planning to become a member of this new church in Memphis that we've been visiting for the last year or so.
Memphis has a strong music history, right?
Yes, blues, soul, and rock and roll, and hip hop.
Hip hop. Tell me about the hip hop.
Well, it's a big scene here in Memphis. You know, the rap music and all the different rappers and the music we have here in Memphis. Um, Yo Gotti and there are many others too.
That's my guy.
That's Yo Gotti.
Yeah.
Yo Gotti is a very strong president in Memphis. In fact, he went to high school with my daughter.
So give me one of them Baptist songs y'all sing down there.
One of the good got the song, "Oh, when the gates opens, when the gates open, we're gonna come walking through."
You ever heard the song By and By?
Yes, I hear it all the time.
By and by, when the morning comes, when the saints of God shall gather home,
Yes, and then
we'll
they have
tell
a
the story of how
right. That's
we've overcome. We'll understand it better by and by. That was my grandma's song. She was a Baptist, number 325 in the Baptist hymnal. By and by. I used to play it on the piano, and when I get to the end, I'd mess it up. She said, it don't go like that.
yeah. Well, let me tell you, Memphis is the home of Church and God in Christ, which started here. The Church of God in Christ Bishop Charles Mason started the congregation of Church of God in Christ, and they have a convention here in Memphis every year for the last probably 80 years or more. When the saints come marching home.
Oh, that's the people with the tubas and the trombones and the trumpets.
And they dance too.
Yeah, they do. They got the whole daggone orchestra.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Bishop Mason, and of course Bishop Patterson uh, was is a singing he was a singing preacher, and he was led to church here in the Memphis area and throughout the world. He was here in Memphis as well, and he had a church in Detroit, Michigan.
You know, maybe your son will write a book.
Well, he has to have the opportunity. Uh, in the state prison where he's located in Arkansas, they don't rehabilitate you.
Of course
They
not.
don't want to help you. They don't want you helping yourself either. But it's me. I'm outside. I'm a free American citizen. I am going to happen. God is going to happen, and I won't stop to the bitter end.
How can people get in touch with you, Mr. Bledsoe, if they want to assist you?
They can contact Parents for Peace. Our operation office headquarters is in Boston, Massachusetts, and they can just Google the website parentsforpeace.org, and there we have a operation person there who can take over from there.
What is your prayer?
My prayer is that one day God allowed me to hold hands and love on my son once again. He was kidnapped. He was taken away from us.
Do you think he'll hit the streets again before it's all said and done? You think he'll come home?
Well, I pray that he will. I speak it that he will. And I have a good feeling that he will one day.
We do. Mr. Bledsoe, I know this was a difficult conversation for you to have. I pray that we have touched somebody out there. I pray that somebody has learned something, and may we all be aware of what's happening, not just here in America, but the interrelationship with other countries like Yemen. I mean, right now we see what's going on the Gaza Strip.
Yes.
And we as African Americans, we are just as globally aware as we are locally aware. So may we all continue to stay sober and vigilant and keep our eyes on the prize. But we commend you for hanging in there with your son. So often black daddies aren't around for the sons. You see it, I see it, but I'm glad you're there for your son.
Yes, sir. And thank you for having me on this morning. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Good morning, world.